everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I am going to be showing you how to draw with an eraser, and I'm going to attempt to draw Billie Eilish for you. I'm going to show you one of the simplest ways to get started with an eraser drawing, and this is one way that you'll be able to get results every single time. So make sure you watch all the way through so you don't miss out any of those tips and tricks. My name is Gemma if you're new here, and I create weekly art content, so make sure you subscribe so you never miss one of my uploads. For this video I'm going to be using these sticks of charcoal. They are between 3 and 6 mil in diameter and they're really light and easy to use. I start by filling in the entire page of paper with my charcoal to create my ground. I'm really not a fan of this as it actually really makes me cringe. It gives me the worst goosebumps, but I powered through and got the entire thing sketched out. I'm now going to place my image on top, and I have created this in PowerPoint to remove any details of tone from my image of Billie Eilish. And I'm going to stick this over the top of my charcoal ground so that I can use this to trace over. I'm going to follow any of the darker lines within the image, and I'm going to press quite hard so that I pick up any charcoal from the paper underneath to leave a nice clean line. And I'm following around the entire image of Billie Eilish to make sure I get all of those details in. This will help me to identify the areas that I need to erase, and it will be a really good base just to get started from. This is a technique that I introduced to some of my students that are feeling a little bit uncertain about using an eraser to draw with, and it just really helps build up their confidence. Next up is using the eraser to draw with. I'm using a kneaded eraser to begin with, and I roll the eraser into a little point so that I have good control over where I'm removing the charcoal. I'm going to start by removing the charcoal from Billie Eilish's hair to reveal those iconic green roots. I'm not going to remove all of the charcoal off of the page as I want to show a contrast in tone between her hair and her forehead. I'm also going to go ahead and remove out any of the negative space in her hair as I want to try and get the space of her curls in as accurately as possible. It doesn't matter if I remove out more of the charcoal in these areas because they're not going to be needed. Once I've completed that section, I'm going to make a start on her skin tone. Her forehead is going to be fairly light, as I want to try and show realistically the natural highlights on her face. I'm going to continue using my kneaded eraser to remove the charcoal to reveal her nose and cheeks. I'm using a variety of pressure to erase the charcoal. As you can see, the nose and cheeks are different tones to the forehead. I will continue to refine them throughout the drawing. I've now blocked in most of the basic tones of Billie Eilish's face because of the outlines I had traced earlier. It was super easy. Whilst I was erasing the charcoal, I was looking at two reference photos. The image I traced and the original image before I took out any of those tonal details. I'm now going to work a little more on her lips and also work on the shadow on her neck before I try and get those eyes in, as she's looking a little bit creepy without them at the moment. In my reference photo, Billie Eilish has got a great highlight to her eyes from her makeup that she's wearing, and I really want to try and get this into my drawing. For this, I'm going to use a basic eraser, and I'm going to break a little bit of it off. I want a more rigid eraser for this part of my drawing, as these are really small details. I remove the highlights of the top of her eyelid and around the bottom lashes, and also the whites of her eyes, before adding in a little reflection to her iris. Her right eye isn't looking too great at the moment, so I need to try and even that out in a moment, as it's sitting slightly higher than the left. I can use my charcoal to fix any of my mistakes, and my students often have a light bulb moment with this technique when they realise their charcoal becomes their eraser whilst their actual eraser is their drawing tool. So I think this is a really fun technique for students to experiment with. I think the eye is now looking so much more like Billie Eilish's gaze, and I'm really happy with how it's currently looking. One of my favourite aspects of a reductive drawing or drawing with an eraser is removing the charcoal around the portrait. I really like the textures that are left on the paper. I have intentionally left the marks in as I think they add to the drawing. You can remove the charcoal further if you prefer that look, just by using a heavier pressure and working over the areas a second time. I'm now going to adjust any subtle tones to my drawing by adding and removing charcoal to the piece and add in some shadows that are cast by her hair. You can use your eraser directionally to help you achieve the forms of the face. I have used this technique on Billie Eilish's cheeks and nose, and I'm quite pleased with the results. I'm also going to refine the eyes and the area around the eyes because there are some really subtle changes in the tones around those, and I also want to try and get in the effect of some of her eyelashes. If you have been enjoying my videos so far, make sure you subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think of it so far. Keep watching to see the end results of the kneaded eraser drawing. So there you have it, that was my drawing of Billie Eilish. Do I think it looks exactly like her? No. However, I am pleased with the result. I like how the portrait just kind of moves out of that paper and it kind of transforms from that flat charcoal into quite a moody looking portrait. So I think this is a really good way for you to get started with tonal values, and it's a really good way for you to learn this technique by using that tracing method. So I would definitely give it a go if I were you. If you liked my video today, make sure you subscribe because I will be back again next week with another tutorial for you. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that one. Give this video a thumbs up and also leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of my final piece. I'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.